Hey kings and queens, welcome back to the channel. I'm doing this video basically to bring awareness. I'm not sure how this girl was able to leave the hospital, so that shit put my mind into like a spiral. First of all, I know she went back to Baltimore to give birth. Obviously that had to have been for a reason. But then I'm thinking in my head, with the conditions that we see this child in to this day, what doctor in their right mind allowed this girl to leave the hospital and why? On this case, I went into investigation mode. So I'm gonna tell you the first thing I did. I went back to Chrisean's live where she gave birth, right? And the first thing I noticed was a computer screen. And so that logo on the screen right there, when you zoom in, it says Epic. Epic is the software that the hospital uses that she was at. All right, cool. So the first thing my mind goes to is, let's Google how many hospitals in Baltimore have a maternity ward that also use this software. As you can see, there are 4 hospitals that show up. That narrows it down tremendously. Greater Baltimore Medical Center, University of Maryland Medical System, Mercy Medical Center, and Sinai Hospital in Baltimore. Now, I automatically ruled out the University Hospital because the way University Hospitals give it up, they will have the police in there before you can even have a chance to do skin-to-skin contact, okay? First thing on the list is Greater Baltimore Medical Center. All right, cool. Let's go figure out. So the first thing I do is go back to Chrisean's live to see the background in the hospital, the delivery room. Then I go to Greater Baltimore Medical Center's website and I go to their tour of their maternity ward. So now on the left is Greater Baltimore Medical Center's maternity ward. On the right is Chrisean's live. So you see that machine behind her head? And you can see to the left, right on that bed, that machine is behind the head. I'm not done though. Now at this point, I got 2 devices, okay? So now on the right, you'll see Chrisean's live. And nobody's making this up. You can see her name all across the top. You see that monitor right next to her bed. You see the computer. All right. You see on the left, that's Greater Baltimore Medical Center's website. You see that same monitor. And I'm still not done. At this point, on the left, Chrisean is giving birth and she gave her phone to her sister. Her sister accidentally records the background, like the detail in the wall. Now, the left is Chrisean's live. The right is Greater Baltimore Medical Center's website. Does the detail not look the same? Pay attention to the detail in the wall. Pay attention to the header on that window, like where the blinds are. Like, and you see that little dispenser? Look at the ceiling. Everything looks the same. So here's another comparison. On the left, you'll see GBMC's website. On the right, you'll see Chrisean's live. Need I say more at this point? But even though my intuition told me that this was the hospital, I decided, just for the sake of accuracy, to go check out the other 3 hospitals that were on that list, their maternity ward, just to be sure. As y'all can see, this is University of Maryland Medical Center. It does not look the same whatsoever. Like, you can tell it's a newer hospital. They don't have those details in the wall, like that older vibe, if that makes sense. Next is a side-by-side of Chrisean's live and Mercy Medical Center. As you can see, they clearly don't match up either. She couldn't have been at that hospital. Now, when it comes to Sinai Hospital of Baltimore, it took me some time. Like, it was very hard to even find pictures. There's no pictures on their actual website, which is a major red flag. If a hospital doesn't even deem their own hospital worthy of doing a maternity ward tour, that is a major red flag. So just outside of this topic, clearly, if you're in the Baltimore area, don't go to the hospital. That's weird. But I did find a girl on TikTok that was doing a review of the hospital. And for me, I just looked around her surroundings just to see if that looked like the other hospital. Clearly, it's not. Crazy. Now, this is the final confirmation, okay? It's the confirmations for me. Final confirmation. While I was doing this topic, my aunt knows I was doing a deep dive trying to get these videos together. She was looking through these Ronnie interviews and she sent me a clip. Boom.
Hospital and fucking she gave birth. That's fucking wild.
All I'm gonna say is GBMC, Greater Baltimore Medical Center. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Now, Ronnie Ben dropped the T on this interview. It just went over my head because at this point he had done so many interviews. Now, looking at the side-by-sides, you can tell she definitely gave birth at Greater Baltimore Medical Center. I put Greater Baltimore Medical Center side by side with her live. You see it right here. Now, there are some slight changes that they made, updates, I would say. Maybe change the color in a room, change the header of the blinds, but everything fundamentally is still the same. Like, look at the design build. Not many hospitals have that design build. Which brings me to why I even created this video. I do not mean to offend anybody that is in the DMV or Baltimore area, or is from Baltimore. I'm just speaking facts. Baltimore is known for the drug epidemic out there. And due to the drug epidemic, yearly, they make up majority of Maryland's cases of children that have been born with NAS syndrome. What does that mean? That means that these medical professionals are trained to look out for these issues, especially within the OBGYN department. I don't care what part of the United States you live in. These doctors are trained to look out for these things, and they have to report it to the state. It's not an option. It's mandatory. When you're dealing with a city like Baltimore, there's a magnifying glass on these type of procedures because the drug epidemic is so high. So my question is, how was Chrisean able to slip through the cracks? Because any mother that has gone through the birthing experience in the hospital, first of all, they drug test you, I believe, when you're within that first or second trimester. Then when you go into labor, they drug test you. Then once your baby is born, they drug test you and the baby. This is no matter what state you live in. But specifically when you live in a city that is known for drugs or has a heightened statistic for children born with NAS, there's a magnifying glass on these types of situations. So my only question is, what made her so special? Why did they overlook this situation? Because even when you listen to the live, you can tell people were able to identify that something was wrong with the child just by the cries. And that's as far as I'm going to go, because I don't like talking about people's kids. I don't like talking about children at all. Like, I don't like that shit. So for me, it's somebody needs to be held accountable. Of course, Chrisean has to be held accountable. But these medical professionals that saw this situation and allowed her to just leave the hospital, this hospital should be shut down as far as I'm concerned. Because how many people have you done this with? The doctors and the nurses, they need to be called to the front. Because it's like, did y'all not, what was going on? Did y'all not see? Did y'all not follow procedure? Because if y'all followed procedure, y'all would have identified that certain things were wrong. And if it was any other mother, they would have had CPS on their ass before they could even leave the hospital. Okay? So it just narrows it down to two things for me in my brain. Either y'all followed procedure, got results, and y'all chose to overlook the results, or y'all didn't follow procedure so that there wouldn't be results to overlook. Which one is it? All I know is that somebody turned a blind eye to this situation, multiple people. And for that, they need to be held accountable. Anything could have happened. That child already lived a very hard life already. And one could say possibly because they turned a blind eye to their situation. Who's to say, had they actually done their jobs, that child wouldn't have gotten early intervention and been able to prevent certain things? But we will never know. Also, this was one of the last interviews Ronnie did before his untimely demise. So I wonder if, maybe he was getting a little too close to the truth. At this point, it's obvious that everything that he was saying is lining up. There needs to be some type of answers for how this girl was allowed to leave the hospital with that child. But y'all tell me what y'all think. Drop it down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all in the next one.